Joysticks, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here. We had the opportunity to have a bunch of current competitive models on our lot, and it presented an opportunity to go around and do some videos on them. Now, we need to prefix this with saying that talking down another competitor's equipment is not a way that we typically like to see business and sales transactions done. Generally, we're of the opinion that our dealership, our experience, the products that we sell can stand on their own without having to talk down about other products. But unfortunately anymore, we find a lot of customers developing opinions about things through YouTube videos that may be really based upon half-truths. So while we had this product here on hand, we wanted to take the opportunity to walk around and do a video of our own and try to show how some of those comparisons are made in dishonest ways, and also make an attempt to make our own comparisons and maybe do it a little bit more honestly than what you typically would find. So take a quick look here at this video and let us know down in the comments how we did. Neil from Essex out here doing a competitive comparison on two popular tractors, the Kubota BX series and the Mahindra Emax series. We're going to do a walk around these machines and attempt to do a fair competitive comparison. Typically, we get pretty frustrated when we see guys doing this kind of stuff because oftentimes companies cherry pick one model to the next, but we're going to try to give you a fair comparison and really show these different tractors' place in the market. The Mahindra Emax is a real curiosity to me because I can't quite position exactly what the right customer is for this machine. They usually will try to position this in the subcompact market, but reality is that this isn't actually a subcompact tractor. It's actually a larger machine with a small set of tires. One of the interesting things with Mahindra machines is that they don't actually build very much of their own equipment. Most of their popular models are actually built by other manufacturers with their name on the side of the hood. They don't try to hide that too much here. If you actually even look at the key for the machine, you'll see right on the key that this tractor is actually manufactured by TYM from South Korea. So one of the things that's always interesting, being that we're a vendor for many manufacturers, when you start to see a lot of outsourcing done with this equipment, we start to get some concerns about the long-term part support for a product. So when one company is building it and another company is putting their name on the hood, when we start to get 10 and 15 years down the road, the actual OEM doesn't have as much invested in that product as far as the reputation goes when providing that longer term support. That contrasts differently to Kubota, who builds their own tractor, their own loader, their own transmission, their own engine. It is their own product from front to back. And as years go by and products age and they need parts and those kinds of things, it is up to Kubota and solely Kubota in order to provide that parts support. So that gives us a lot more comfort as the long term goes by that our products are going to be well supported, as these are typically lifetime purchases for most people. So again, I struggle a little bit with this tractor knowing exactly who the customer should be. You know, if your needs are for a subcompact tractor, if you're working on under about 3 acres or so, and your needs are mostly landscape and residentially minded, a subcompact is really the tractor for you. And Kubota builds one of the most modern subcompact tractors I've ever seen. In the course of this BX series tractor, this thing has been revised. This is the 5th generation now of this product. And Kubota is the #1 retailer of subcompact tractors in the world and has been for about 10 years now. So if your needs are for a subcompact tractor, I'm not 100% sure that this is actually the right tractor for you. If you work through the spec sheet, it is an oddly heavy tractor, which in a subcompact application is not necessarily a good thing. When you're mowing your lawn and you're taking care of more residentially minded tasks, weight compacts and ruts up your lawn. And in the course of a subcompact, that's not necessarily weight that you want. There are applications where weight is needed, but they're not typically subcompact tractor applications. So when Kubota designs the BX series, they design enough weight to performance match the tractor to the implements that it uses, but not excess weight that is going to become problematic in your application. Another place that the Kubota is really leaps and bounds ahead is in terms of their mower deck. They do offer drive-over options for one. If you'd like a drive-over mower deck, that is an option that Kubota offers that Mahindra doesn't. There's also a huge difference, though, in the ground clearance of the mower decks. This deck is currently raised up in its highest position, and you can see down here underneath the deck, I may have about 3 inches or so of ground clearance underneath the deck in its full up position. That can be really problematic if you're going to go out and, say, rototill your garden with your mower deck still attached to your tractor, because that loose dirt and stuff that you're dragging across is going to catch and bang on the underside of the mower deck as you're going. Part of the reason why that happens on this tractor is because it's not a real subcompact, right? In a real subcompact with a ladder frame design, the manufacturer can place transmission and engine components at different places to be able to optimize things like the lift height of the mower deck. Being that this tractor is not a ladder frame tractor, they have no option except to put the mower deck below the bulk of the tractor, which gives them very little height to be able to lift to. Another thing offered now in the BX80 series is a skid steer quick coupler for the loader. If you've not seen these before, this is a universal coupler that's used on probably about 80% of compact tractors and skid loaders. The nice thing about this coupler is it's really super easy to use and opens you up to a whole world of implements and buckets and attachments from both Kubota and third-party manufacturers. It's a universal coupler that you can use for, grapples and snow blades and that kind of stuff that can very easily be snapped on in front of the loader. On the back of the Mahindra bucket, you will find no such thing. Mahindra does not offer a skid steer quick coupler for this tractor, and to be fair, neither does any other manufacturer making a subcompact tractor at this point. That is a feature that is exclusive to Kubota at this point. I'd suspect we will see more of it from other companies in the future as it's becoming more and more commonly used, but at this point, Kubota is the industry leader. Continuing along the line of subcompact features is the roll bar that's on this tractor. Kubota has now lowered the height of the roll bar on their subcompact so that it fits inside of most standard garage doors without being folded down. So you'll notice on this machine here, I have a joint that's way up here, and this can actually stay in the up position going into a garage. As opposed to the Mahindra that has a really incredibly high roll bar. Not sure what hill they're rolling down, but this is a monster. Granted, most people are going to take the joint here and fold the roll bar down in order to get it in and out, but from a safety perspective, you can leave the safety equipment on the Kubota in the up position and ready to catch you in case you happen to roll the tractor without having to bring it up and down every time you go in and out of a garage. The operator's platform on the 80 series tractor is really clean and modern, right? It's triple pedal design, so forward here with your toe and reverse with your heel, but you'll notice that the curved portion of that treadle is below the deck, opening up a lot of floor space through here. Over on my sides, I have controls for the PTO, selecting the middle or the rear, and another lever to turn it on, 4-wheel drive, 2-range transmission for the rear end, 3-point hitch control, and my loader joystick. You notice that my loader joystick in this case is positioned right here on my fender, and if I bring my armrest down, I can set my elbow right back here on the armrest and my hand right here on the loader joystick. If you're working for hours at a time, it's very comfortable and very easy to use. Kubota also does a great job with their loader joysticks of making them smooth into the corner positions. As you take your loader up and down, you need to be able to pull into the corners in order to keep your loads level as you go up and down, and you'll always find on Kubota loaders that's typically much easier than a lot of competitive tractors. Compare that to the Mahindra operating platform, and I feel like I'm in a tractor from the 1980s. There's just not nearly as many refinements here. The most obvious thing is the giant hump that runs down here through the middle. Now, we talk about the engine hump on a lot of other tractors as well. Typically, a lot of times it's awfully overblown, but in the case of this tractor, this thing is huge. They also talk about how large their operator's platform is, but you notice here a lot of that actual square footage of the operator's platform, areas that you can't really put your feet. Way out here beyond the pedals, for instance, there's large portions of the platform, but really serve no purpose the whole way out here. A lot of the other Mahindra controls are frankly quite similar to the Kubota. On my left-hand side, I have the controls for my 4-wheel drive and range selection, the controls for my PTO, and my up and down control for my 3-point hitch. In order to turn the mower deck on in this tractor, I have a dial that's up here on the dash, which curiously is underneath the steering wheel. So all the times that I'm turning my mower deck on and off, I've got to twist my arm back here underneath the steering wheel in order to get to the button. A little less ergonomic than one would expect on a newer tractor. Loader controls for me are a big deal. I always get on and off of every tractor and grab the loader stick and work it in every direction through a series of functions to see how it feels. To be honest, that's not too bad. I'd take that over a lot of John Deere loaders any day of the week. One thing you will notice though is in the design of this loader, right? When I'm sitting on the Kubota, I have an armrest, which this tractor has no armrest, and I can set my hand right on top of the loader control valve. In this case, it's oddly right off here to the side. It's not too bad in operation. It moves much smoother than what you'll find some other loaders. And I can do those multi-functions fairly well. So my only real issue with that is simply the positioning of the valve. It's more comfortable back here at the hip, and the fact that all these couplers and hoses and stuff are kind of just hanging off here on the side on these brackets, and I've got the whole valve body right here, it's janky compared to a modern tractor. You'll often find Mahindra tractors having an oddly high-spec loader, and this one is no exception. This tractor will lift 900 pounds down here at the pivot pin behind the bucket. One thing we always want to watch with pivot pin measurements is a tractor will not lift the amount of weight that it says it will at the pivot pin. You don't lift loads back here behind the bucket. Your load is in the bucket and beyond the bucket. So when we move from a pivot pin out to about bucket center, generally we're losing 25 to 30% of that rated capacity. So just because this thing says it will lift 900 pounds, if you have an application where you need to lift 900 pounds, do not buy this loader because it will not do it. You need to reduce that number by about 25 or 30%. If you have a legitimate application needing that amount of lift capacity, you know, Mahindra would quickly point out that, oh, our subcompact tractor lifts 200 pounds more than a Kubota BX does. And in that case is when I would turn to my right over here and go to a Kubota B series machine. This machine to me is a little bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? It is really a compact tractor with small tires. So if you took this B series machine over here and downsized the tires, lo and behold, it looks and specs out a lot like this thing does. And you can see that in the pricing as well. This is an oddly expensive tractor for a subcompact, and will start to price in where a larger series Kubota does. So if your needs, and again, your needs, what you need to lift as far as your requirements go, drive you into these capacities, this is where you need to go. So that's my competitive walk around of a Mahindra tractor. To be frank, this came out a lot more negative than what I necessarily was going for and expecting. And I really am having a hard time understanding exactly what customer would be right for this tractor. As you're walking around this machine and looking at its specifications, it should be cheaper than what it is. This is not as inexpensive as many of their machines are. And so I just don't see it myself. Frankly, to go through this buying process and to be shopping for a compact tractor, videos like this or comparing specifications of machines and Excel and those kinds of things feel to me like a really poor way to be going through this process. A much better option is to go out to your local dealers. You know, take an afternoon, go visit their dealerships. Take a look at their parts department. Is it well stocked? Do their technicians in the shop know what they're doing? Are their salespeople knowledgeable? You know, a good tractor bought from a bad dealership can ruin your experience as an owner. So make sure you shop that dealership process and let that salesperson really try to understand and know your needs and sell you the right tractor for your application. You know, work through comparing dealerships that way, where you're really going to get a much better sense of what these products are all about. So if we can help you through that process, give us a call at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or online at messick's.com.